So why is that the standout track for you?
I love this song.
Yeah.
It's so smart lyrically. It's very funny. It cuts deep in a very personal way, but in a very relatable way. Like, I think this song speaks to people in multiple levels. It's about the way that we mask for the benefit of others.
Yeah.
Then it also is maybe about the ways that we mask for the benefit of ourselves. It's maybe about the ways that we actually can feel very disconnected from our own sense of self and reality, and a bit unsure of what that means.
Yeah.
As artistic people, I think I can relate to the notion that it's easier to receive validation in the position of a performer or on stage than it is in my personal life. And what does that mean when we are receiving more praise for this thing that maybe feels like it is not our full self? So I think it's a brilliant song. I think it's funny. Musically, I think this song is actually, it's not one of the most complex tracks, right? It's very stripped down.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of solos going on. It's got some really tight vocal harmonies, but very straightforward song structure. And if you listen, Ben has, since this album, put out early demos of a lot of his songs, including this one. And the early demos of this song are much more complex. He does so much more in them musically. There's this concept of, show, don't tell. And he's doing a lot of showing in those demos of that imitation of self, of that presentation. But within the context of the album, I think he's done something very smart, because so many of the other tracks on this album are going off the rails musically. By shrinking this one down musically, by making it so tight, it becomes this confession, and it becomes this very intimate and personal moment as a result of that, in a really wonderful way. And I think when you look at, what makes a perfect album, for me, it's how all the pieces are working together. It's the album is an event in the same way that in theater, the play is the event. It's where all the pieces are coming together in real time. And so there's some really specific decisions that he's made with this song that, if it were just a song outside of the context of an album, maybe wouldn't land in the same way as they do within the context of the song that comes before it, the song that comes after it, and what's around it. I think provides a lot of context to the song.
Well said.
Yeah, it's sort of tucked away towards the back end of the album. And yeah, I guess it is sort of this like, compared to so much else on the album, it does sort of, it's not that I had forgotten about it, but when you mentioned that was going to be your standout track, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And that, it actually forced me to listen more to the lyrics. Because as we have established on this podcast, I tend to hear music before I'm really paying attention to the lyrics.
Right.
With a song like this, it feels like, the cleverness is within the lyrics, and he's kept the music relatively, I guess, straightforward. I don't know if I would ever say anything he does is simple, but at least it's like straightforward. I don't know. What's your take on it, Tyler?
I think it's all the things you've said, and I think there's a level of it's very typical of him, like in like a version of him, this kind of earnest confessional type energy that he brings to. I mean, when Brick is kind of the song that, not like he ever says, he doesn't like have to spell it out for everyone, but I think the directness, and he's never hiding, as much as some of the other songs might go off the rails, and as much as he might get big and loud at certain points, I don't ever feel like it's in an effort to hide something. In fact, it's quite the opposite, like you said. So I think it's a good choice.
Yeah,
it's a good choice for standout. So I guess this kind of brings us on to standards for perfection, and because we can kind of get in there, like talk to us a little bit more about when we gave you that brief, what went through your head in terms of the standards you were using for perfect albums, and why this one made the list.
Sure. So as I mentioned, the album is the unified event.
Yeah.
And so for me, a perfect album, it just cannot be a collection of perfect songs that have been put together. That's not a perfect album. It might be great music, but the album is something where the music, the lyrics, the production, the themes are all working towards the same unified end. And I can point to some really specific ways that happens in this album.
Do it.
I am here to like prove this case to you with facts.
We like supporting
with
evidence.
facts.
Yes.
And so they do this in a lot of ways, which we can get into. But I think the gestalt of it, the big picture here is the album is the way that we relate to the thing. It's the way that when we think about the music. Here's a good example with a different album. I can't think of many people who would say, do you want to listen to On the Run by Pink Floyd? But I could think of a lot of people who would say, do you want to listen to Dark Side of the Moon? And it's because that album is such a cohesive experience that the way in which we relate to it, the way in which we identify with it is through the album itself. You don't want to jump into the middle of that album. You want to start at the beginning and listen all the way through. That is the case with Ben Folds 5, 100%. I can prove it.
All of their albums?
No, this
one in particular.
Yeah, Ben Folds 5. Folds 5. The
I
album
see.
we're here to talk about.
The eponymous album.
Absolutely. Which I want to call into question. I mean, I can't say it isn't eponymous because it obviously is. But I have a hot take here.
Okay.
One of many conspiracies I have about this album. I think the title is actually not the same as the band name. So the band name, Ben Folds 5. I think the title of this album is Ben Folds 5. As in, this is and I'm being serious. And I think this gets at the thematic through line of this album. This is about someone who has just thrown away their entire hand and decided to start over new with a blank slate. And so I think the album is Ben Folds 5, Ben Folds 5.
Like if they were playing 5-card draw.
Yeah, like 5-card poker.
Do you have any evidence to back this up, or is this you as our shamanic Ben Folds?
I did say it's a hot take, a conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Like any good conspiracy, I don't think it can be rooted in too much fact.
That's true, actually.
But I have seen that when he thought of the name of the band, they thought it sounded better than
Ben Folds 3.
Ben Folds 3, yeah.
And
he's right.
That there was kind of a poker pun in there was appealing to him is something that I've seen him discuss.
Okay.
So do I think literally he put a comma in this album name, Ben Folds 5, which would not be grammatically correct.
It's not even an Oxford comma.
No, I don't think it's true, but I think it speaks to my point about the through line. But I do think that's what the album's about. I think this is about someone who has thrown it all away and is starting from scratch. I don't think we can one-to-one layer Ben's biography onto this album, but in many ways, when this album came out, he had just like geographically relocated. He had left his old music project and was trying to start something new. His first marriage had just ended, and this was very much like a new start, a new beginning, someone who had a full life and had thrown that all away.
Right.
Ben Folds 5.
And as he says in Army on Reinhold Messner, the former band had broken up in May and then in June reformed without him. This was that time.
Yeah.
This is when the band broke up and then reformed without him, and he had to put up or shut up, I guess. Damn, okay. I like that take.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about. I feel like you're ready to get into the minutia a little bit. So tell me, what is your main thrust on a like sequencing level? What do you think the idea is behind the sequencing here? If the sequencing is saying anything, tell me more about your perspective on that.
I do. I think all albums are concept albums to more or less of an extent.
Sure.
But I think I approach things with my dramatic criticism lens, with my theater lens.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the story. It could be linear, it could be episodic. You can have different types of albums, but I'm looking for that arc. I'm looking for that through line, which I think is here. But rather than just like opine on that and say, here's my thoughts and feelings, I want to give you two really concrete musical examples. There are more than this.
Okay, great.
Two really good musical examples of where the band is saying this album has to be listened to in this order, and it has to be listened through. You're not going to get the full experience. It's not going to carry through. So the one really straightforward one, the end of Philosophy, second track on the album. Philosophy ends, crazy solo, song ends. We're still on the same track.
Yeah.
We get some in-studio noise of them talking to each other. And then the very end of Philosophy ends 1, 2, 3, 4 with the count in to Julianne, the next song.
Yeah.
And so it's quite literally counting into the next song, which then drops. Boom, ba-dum, boom.
Yeah.
So if you just listen to Julianne without this album, you're missing the count in, which is like, that's a pretty clear, which, musically, maybe not the most important part of a song, but that's a little cue that they have given us that like, hey, this is actually connected to what came before and what came after. Another really good example. So Best Imitation of Myself, which we just talked about a few minutes ago.
The standout track in your mind.
Absolutely. So without getting too into the weeds on like music theory nerddom for your listeners, in music, when you're playing in a key, there are going to be certain chords that feel very much like at home in the key. We call those resolved chords. And then there will be chords that can add tension in the key, call those unresolved chords. So you often think of as an unresolved chord as something that's maybe asking a question, and then the resolution, the chord that resolves it, answers the question. And so this is something that's happening for our ear throughout music, is we're creating tension and then relieving it. In many ways, that's what music is. And so Best Imitation of Myself ends in a very unresolved place. And even if you're right, like even if you're not in the weeds on music theory, anyone listening to this can understand it because it ends with, it feels like a question. It's this unresolved place.
An expectation.
Yeah.
Something, you feel like something's kind of in the air a little bit.
And he doesn't resolve it. There's something our ear is expecting to happen based on the patterns we're used to in music, and it doesn't happen. So within the context of that song, that's just a brilliant choice, right? For the message of the song, for the theme. But then within the context of the album, what happens with the very first chord of the next song video, it provides resolution to that. It brings us, so that the last chord of Best Imitation of Myself is a D7. It's functioning as what we call a secondary dominant chord. That first chord of video brings us into the key of D. And so all of a sudden that unresolved chord becomes our new home. And so if you listen to those tracks, like, you're going to exhale at the start of video, and it so gets into the energy of that song, which is a little bit more backward looking and introspective. And so you're not going to have that experience if you're not listening to the album all the way through. If you're just listening to one of those songs, you're not going to understand that connection. I think those are the two clearest examples, but please listen to the full album. It's perfect. And you will hear just all of the ways lyrically, there are callbacks lyrically, there are musical through lines. I think their producer, Caleb Southern, deserves a ton of credit for a lot of that sound. When you listen to it, it feels like a live performance, like they're sitting in the room playing this album through.
Right, it does.
He was often referred to as the fourth member, the unofficial fourth member of Ben Folds 5, which
getting him closer. He's getting him closer to 5, actually. And he just passed a couple of years ago, didn't he?
Yeah, they got together and played for the tribute concert.
Their last time playing together to date. Wasn't that what it was?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I listened to some of the demos as well from this, and they were like, so... there's these shapes that happen even in the demos where you can kind of see them stitching that stuff together, like these songs, like kind of very mindfully figuring out. And what you're saying, I think, is very well put, because that's also sort of in some way recreating the experience of seeing a band live, right? Is how it's different how they move from song to song when you're seeing a band live than it is when unless they're like just playing the exact album, just like song after song after song, like sequentially. Listening to a set list has all these kind of like liminal moments that are tying things together and make it a complete experience. So that's a good way of putting that he is also doing that in the recorded version. I guess that leads me to the question of, have you seen him live much at all?
Him or them? Have you
him or
seen
them?
Him or them live?
So shamefully and regretfully, no. I have never seen Ben Folds live, and he was just in Chicago playing with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra.
Really?
And I messed up.
Bummer.
I'm just gonna say I messed up.
Bummer. I've seen him like 4 or 5 times, and you got to see him. You got to see him live even now. He has a great presence. Like even if you don't love his music in particular, I think he's really for the theatrics, right? Like he has that Tom Waitsy kind of energy about him. Ooh, I didn't invoke him earlier, but there's definitely some Tom Waits. Like a bit of a dash of Tom Waits.
Scratchy.
Yeah. Well, I like his.
I know I give you crap.
I like that. But anyway, he's he's really excellent live. What's been your like experience of the live albums? We spoke about Ben Folds live, his solo live album, which actually features several Ben Folds 5 songs. Do you have a love for the live recordings and all that?
Yeah, they're incredible. So I should say, well, I have never experienced Ben Folds live. I have experienced Ben Folds live quite a lot. Through the albums, through videos of watching him and the band play. Absolutely, it's incredible. I'd say the Studio 54 sessions, which is the full band, to see how baby-faced they all look, and that is pretty incredible. Don't look in the mirror, folks. It gets worse, but pretty incredible. But then Ben Folds live, where he's just playing solo on the piano, and
fills a room.
It does, and to see how he's able to capture the energy of those songs, and you do miss that like awesome like fuzzy bass tone of Roger Sledge with the Ben Folds live, but he makes up for it in other ways with the live playing. And what I really love is his live album with the West Australian Symphony Orchestra.
I have listened to that.
That's an incredible album where all of a sudden it's like the total opposite, right? You have like just Ben on the piano, and then you have like full arrangements for a symphony orchestra.
He does that well. I would say another point in his credit is he is very interested in experimentation formically, like the album with Nick Hornby. While it may not have been his like strongest album in aggregate, I feel like I respect the fact that he like wants to try different sort of collaborative setups in a pop music setting, right? Like experimental music is one thing that I feel like has its own, the boundaries of that are all fuzzy, but he's a pop musician who is interested in breaking form like that. And I think it's a credit to him. Probably why he stuck around as long as he has, right?
Yeah, and we don't have time to go into the William Shatner of it all, too. But
it's a great marriage.
Not enough time.
William Shatner and Ben Folds is such a. It just makes sense, It just makes a lot of sense.
Well, Aaron, we have a little surprise for you. Something we did not tell you about, and something we're not telling any of our guests about this season, which is we have a few more quick rapid fire questions for you.
A lightning round.
A lightning
round,
love it.
if you will.
Insert lightning or thunder.
Yeah, exactly.
Thunder,
yes. We'll get
sound
our
effects.
We'll add that, I'm sure. We'll fix it in post. We have 10 rapid fire questions for you here about the album that we're going to see if you can accomplish in 2 minutes, but we're not going to set a timer. So it's a loose 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Or maybe a soft 2 is better. I don't like the idea of a loose 2.
Stop that. Stop it. Stop it.
Anyway.
You have a loose 2, you put it under your pillow.
Oh,
yes,
nice save.
There you go.
Thank you, Aaron.
Go off, Aaron. Go off.
I've got more where that came from.
All right. So
we're trading off?
Yeah, we'll trade off. We'll put it here.
And you want to start?
I'll do the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is instinctual.
Like, do I need to loosen a button for this?
Not unless you want to.
Yeah.
It's already happened.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
And no explanation. Just like we might ask you follow up afterwards, but just answer like, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. The best song on this album is
Last Polka.
The worst song on this album is
Video.
This album reminds me of
My childhood.
I like listening to this album when I
want to feel great.
This album is not good for
calming down.
If this album were a color, it would be
red.
Okay.
If this album were a food, it would be
pancakes. But this is really pancakes.
Yeah.
I would recommend this album to anyone who likes
piano.
Haters will probably call this album
annoying.
And if I had to describe this album in 3 words, I'd say it's
raw as heck.
Oh, yes.
Well done.
I might use a different word instead of heck, but
heck fits so good. Heck fits so good. Okay, yeah. Nicely done. Yeah. Which one did you want to touch on? Because
red? This album feels red to you?
That was the first. I mean,
okay. I'm not doubting you. I'm thinking like, I guess maybe because I think of each of these albums and I picture the covers so clearly, like the album covers of them. And this just feels like it's in that the cover looks almost like I don't know, painters, but it feels almost like a painting
Rothko?
in some way. No, maybe more like a Van Gogh but clearer.
I'm trying to picture
Again,
him
not an
right
art
now,
person,
yeah.
so I don't know.
Yeah, maybe maroon red. You know.
Okay.
Oh,
I like
didn't
that.
mean a bright red.
When you
Okay.
say red, and now that you qualify it with maroon, I do picture a red couch, like a red puffy couch. I don't know why that feels.
Okay.
And he's got that sort of and not least of all because of his collaborations with Regina Spektor, but like he's got that sort of it's the polka thing, it's the Eastern European thing, it's the like. There's this band called Slavic Soul Party. Do you know them?
No.
You'd love Slavic Soul Party, actually. That's an Aaron Aptaker pilled band for sure. I'll share them with you. Slavic Soul Party. Check them out. But there's the cabaret, the cabaret kind of top hat sort of thing. I see red with that. Velvet Curtains,
Okay.
maybe.
I can see that. Yeah. I guess I was also taken aback too when you said the last polka was the the best song on the album, even though Best Imitation of Myself is a standout.
Yeah.
Which I also, I guess I also just appreciate that because I love when people, it means different things.
It does.
Standout track is different from
Yeah.
best song. I do also enjoy the last polka.
Yeah.
What makes that the best song on the best song on the album?
It musically just goes so hard.
Yeah.
And it's the climax of the album. Going back to, I do think this album has like an arc and a structure.
Yeah.
This is, in many ways, I think this is like showing us like the breakup that had happened before the album actually started.
Yeah.
In many ways, it's one of two songs that was actually co-written with his first wife.
Yep.
A song about a relationship ending that was written with the person with whom he just got out of a relationship. Has one of the most intense sort of moments of the music and the lyrics coming together in this like synergistic moment where they're working towards the same goal of how do you think that I survived the other 25 before you? Like, wow, what a powerful moment that like when you hear that.
Ben, okay. Well said. I think that's a really I just think also polka has such a comical sort of like connotation to it sometimes. Like anything with accordions and kind of like boop bop beep bop kind of music. And I might have invoked this with mariachi when we were talking about Ashlyn, experiencing mariachi in the context of a funeral. I feel like it's great when you can see something that maybe you've had a preconceived notion about its place in music, like mariachi or polka or something like that, and seeing them take on a completely different context. And I think he succeeds in doing that here.
100%.
Sure.
And it's one of the most fun tracks to watch him play live because of the athleticism of it.
Yeah.
And the physical, like he's like banging with his full arm on all of the notes.
Yes.
There is no key. It's just...
Love that.
Well, Tyler, Aaron, it's time for the
Deliberation phase.
So this is the
Pretty
part.
good.
Yeah, that was not bad. It's easier to be like in unison when we like are actually in the same room together.
Good sound effect, we'll work on it.
Hopefully there was a sound effect there, dear
Okay, so
listeners.
you've built your case brick by brick. Appreciate that.
Oh, you said brick.
So it's that was good. So we're gonna deliberate now.
It's only fair.
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay.
Also, I said it's only fair.
Stop that.
I'm sorry. Just make sure you're pretty selfless, cold, and composed.
These are
okay?
he's referencing song titles. I'm upset with you right now. Okay,
Whatever,
so for my case, I think that there is I'm biased. I feel, but through my bias towards loving Ben Folds, I think you've built your case around this kind of core of feeling like Ben gives us permission as the listener to revel in some contradictions and some embarrassingly earnest feelings and some punk rock musical approaches to music that may not be considered punk rock. I think he's got a sense of humor, just like you said, and there's this sort of wild abandon that I can feel like in your love for this album that is also present in the music. So all of that is a really nice package, and somebody who I think is a figure in our prime era of music, being guys our age. Like he's sort of right in the pocket for guys our age of like, he was big, and he has stayed big. He's maintained a really good profile. So I think this all burnishes his case for inclusion in the pantheon. What would you say, Michael?
I think when you started talking about the toy piano, and the frustration at not being able to take what you were hearing in your mind and like put that into the keys, like relatable. Like I think that was that just sort of took me back to like when I started playing piano, and even that frustration of like when I would start working on a piece and like I could listen to a recording of it and like, why can't I make that happen yet, even though I do know how to play?
Yeah.
And just also the connection, like, you know, I can't play guitar. Like I sure wish I could. I sort of feel like in life you kind of have to pick one because playing guitar ruins your fingers for piano. I mean, there are people who do both, but like I feel like if you want to do piano well, you kind of can't really dive into guitar. Feel free to correct me, dear listeners, if I'm wrong about that one. But like, I don't know. I think I just related to your origins, and it's like, of course you would fall in love with Ben Folds 5 because of that, because that feels like the natural progression for that. And also too, like this forced me to re-listen to the 3 main albums, and Whatever and Never Amen had always been my favorite. But on re-listening, I agree that this does feel like a more cohesive album. Yeah. I was talking to Tyler yesterday about this, and I do feel like Whatever Never Amen is like a potluck with like one dish that you're just like, did you have to bring enchiladas in addition to the lasagna? Like it's like it's all good food, but you're like, oh, but why is that thing there? Like nothing's bad. It's just a lot. Whereas this feels like it all meshes well together. So I mean, based on that, I don't know. Tyler, I'll put it to you.
Put it to me. Okay.
Put it to you. You've heard Aaron's case.
Yep.
We've invited him here in Chicago, live in person.
Live in person.
At the fine folks at the Chicago Podcast Studio have been doing their great work here for us. What do you think? Has he made a solid case? Does Ben Folds 5 go to 11? Is it a perfect album?
It sure is.
I don't know what
we'll have a sound effect.
We'll add something. Yeah, exactly. And a little like graphics. Yeah. Okay. All right.
It's perfect. Yeah.
Do I win?
You do. You win. Well done.
Yes.
Well
It's all about winning. It's all about winning. Yes. Oh yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Well done. Yes. I think this is that thing about not being able to. That's like the creative. That is the essential obstacle of creativity, right? Is like having something in your mind and not being able to put it out. And you're so right that he has given us a piece that kind of encapsulates that feeling. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, Aaron. Well, okay. So you know what, you want to shout out anything that you want to shout out anything else that you've been listening to recently, or anything you've been working on that you want people to be aware of? You got free airtime, brother.
I want people to be aware of library music, which is not music that you would listen to in a library, although you could. Library music is music that was composed not for a specific film or a specific TV show, but composed to be licensed, right, to be used in TV. You go to a music library and a catalog and look through it. But library music, I have just been going down the rabbit hole of just this incredible music, diverse genres, because you could want any kind of sound in a movie or a TV show. A lot of English and Italian and French and German music from the 60s and 70s, funk, soul. Listen to the KPM Greensleeves, listen to library music, put on your iPod headphones, become the main character of your own day, and just enjoy the soundtrack.
Ooh. Yes, Aaron, that's a good call out.
I only learn things on the podcast.
Yes, no, this is we need to use this segment for that.
For learning things.
For them calling out anything you want to share. That you've inspired us. That's great, man. So, well, it's really good to see you.
Yeah. So great to see you both in person.
I know, it's great.
And for the maybe 100th album episode.
I think it is.
I think it is.
I'm
the heck?
It's the 100th album.
Yeah, you should take it.
You should.
I am glad to be here for the 100th album episode.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
You win.
So thank you for coming. It's so good to see you. we want to take a moment and thank the people here at Chicago Podcast Studio.
Sure.
Right? Luke back there.
Yeah.
Luke helping us out. This is pretty wild. Well, just so you know, don't expect this every week. This is a special treat, as they say. And we're glad to be able to do it for this and another episode that we're going to record later this week. But you'll see that one in good time. But thank you, Aaron, for coming and joining us. You're the best. So I guess we're just going to thank everybody who's tuned in with us yet again. We hope you'll keep coming back. I'll do the thing. Give us a follow on social media if you feel so inclined. Give Chicago Podcast Studio a look if you need to make a podcast in Chicago, because we're having a great time doing that. And you had anything else you wanted to tell them?
I think the last thing I have to say to them is bye.